And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. I'm Gary Kaltbaum, your host. Hey, thanks for being with us today. Glad you're here, ladies and gentlemen. Happy that you were listening. It's Friday. It's February 27th. It's 2026. Hope you're having a good day. Today was end of month. It's 28 days in February. I have a lot to cover. You're going to need to listen carefully. We have been harping on certain things in the recent past, and if you did not listen to them, you have been harmed financially. We say that about as strongly as we can say that. There are certain things going on in this market right now that I must tell you. The good seems to be gooder. The bad, a lot badder. And if you are not on top of the game right now, you are getting smoked. Please be listening. We have some additional things to bring up today that we're even surprised about. But in case you don't know, this is serious talk on everything that affects you. The markets, the economy, your job, your industry, the Morlocks at D.C., the interventionist running the country, amongst other words, the anti-capitalist, the pro-control freak, Donald Trump. And if you don't get this radio show in your city, we'll post it at GaryK.com. We'll also post it on our X feed. If you don't follow us at X, you should. If you'd like to email us, just be nice. We'll also post it on the BizTV YouTube channel. Oh, I know. You're going to say, Gary, control freak. Yeah, the president said that they're thinking about taking over Cuba today. Sure. And we're controlling Venezuela, and we want, it's not out of the question sending the military to Greenland. Oh, but he's only kidding. Sure, because you always want a president threatening another country. Or Canada, 51st state. Sure. Great. Or we're going to take a 20% position in this company, that company, this company, that company, and my kids own a crap load of it beforehand. No, sure. Hope you're all happy. On the right, you have no problem with it. On the left, you're having fits. When Biden did it, the right was having fits and the left had no problem. Thus, why we hate them all. Not you, them. That was the latest today, by the way. That was the latest. We're going to take over Cuba. But actually, I'm not so sure it's the worst thing in the world. Oh, you get my point. So, are you paying attention? We're going to start with the most important part of today's equation that I watched today. We have been telling you to avoid the whole financial complex. They have been in bearish phases of differing levels. The private equity / credit / buyout companies have been obliterated. Gary, what do you mean by obliterated? 190 to 113 in Blackstone. What is that? 77 points on 119? 40? That's obliterated. How about RS? 195 to 112. That's another one. Any others? Oh, I got plenty. But we already knew that. And we've also told you about MasterCard and Visa. We've told you about the recent blow-ups in the brokerage and investment managers. The blame is on artificial intelligence. We have talked to you about other smaller private equity companies or other financials that have just been absolutely bludgeoned. Oh, the credit cards. Capital One in 5 weeks, 260 to 195. 65 on 260 was about 23, 24. Not the end of the world, right? Okay. How about American Express? Down $27 today, 386 to 308 in the last few weeks. 76 on that's 20. MasterCard and Visa in a bearish phase. Synchrony Financial, Ally Financial, LPL Financial, Northern Trust, T. Rowe Price, State Street, Schwab. They finally broke down from the highs. The European banks like Deutsche Bank and Barclays. Avoids. But we've also said, the big banks have been holding up pretty good under some pressure. Trading below the moving average, but when you're a lower beta thing, trading below it can only be maybe a few percent. And the regional banks actually acting a little bit better than the big banks, though under pressure also. Well, we don't know what Monday brings. Goldman Sachs was down $69 today. By the way, that represents about 430 Dow points. Volume was double. And we would suggest you got a nice big top in place. Goldman. Citigroup down 6. Let's do percentages. Goldman 7.5. Citigroup 5. Morgan Stanley 6.25. Bank America almost 5. JP Morgan only 2, and that's because I don't know what happened late in the day, but JP Morgan came back decently, but was still down $6 and trading all the way down to its 200-day moving average. PNC Bank 10.5. BlackRock 27. Evercore $17. LPL Financial $19. Ameriprise $16. Apollo Group 10. So we're just letting you know they worsened today. We hope you listen. We own no financials. They are avoids. But we can't just say avoid, can we? They're the financials. These are the financial stocks. These are the pipes. Lenders, they lend to companies small all the way to big. Brokers, lots of business. Banks, greatest bookies on earth. Regional banks. Credit card companies. I look at American Express today and I was looking to see why would American Express be down $26 today? I want to find a reason and I couldn't. And that's worrisome. I'd rather have a reason. Some will say they're exposed. To what? Software companies? Crypto? I don't know. I just know what bearish phases look like and avoid them. Continue to avoid them. Where is the worry? I don't want financials croaking. I don't want financial stocks getting smoked. It is not very often that financial stocks get smoked and the market doesn't follow. Though right now you got very good rotation to where the indices are holding up pretty well. You may want to mark that down, that Gary says. Avoid even more. Do not look for the falling knife. I don't know what happens Monday, but the trend worsened today. Everything financials. Up next, sector by sector, stock by stock. This is the one and only Investor's Edge. And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. Let us continue. We're going to start with the avoids, but have some very important stuff on possible good side. Crypto. I believe it was 2 or 3 days ago we said we think it could bounce. Not because it's going to go into a bull market, because how stretched, extended, oversold from the norm with a lot of bearishness now. And I have to tell you, it bounced for a day. That's all it did. And we're talking Bitcoin and Ethereum and all the other crap. And they're right back down. And we'll make the statement, it better not do what it did from mid-November to late January. And that is just, after dropping, make a right turn. Just go right. Sashay to the right. And then break that ledge. Because every time you break that ledge of a bear flag, it invites more and more selling, and that's what happened the first go-round. And all I can tell you right now, crypto continues to act like crap. Pay no attention to the people talking their book. They have absolutely zero clue what's going to happen next. They do not follow a roadmap of bull and bear markets. They try to throw darts at the wall. And in bear markets, there are certain rules. Number one, surprises happen to the downside. Number two, they will go farther down and for longer time than anybody expects until they don't. And our job is to gauge that. Avoid the crypto. Yeah, they bounce. You get bounces. You like walking into 50-mile-an-hour winds in your face? Or do you like tailwinds? That's your crypto for you. And where it stops, we don't know. It's an avoid. Financials of all stripes. Crypto. Software. We have been bearish on software since the IGV broke on November 4th. But even before that, Oracle had topped out days before. In fact, we sold our Oracle about 2 weeks before. We were worried about how it was trading. Microsoft broke on November 4th. Salesforce.com was already smoked. Adobe was already smoked. And many others. Since, nothing but worse. A couple of days ago, we said we thought we could get a bounce. Why? Stretched, extended, and oversold, and a big bounce of bearishness after a drop. And when we say stretched and extended, that is from the norm. What the norm is from its declining 50-day moving average. That's how you get bounces. You bounce for 2.5 days. Today wasn't great, though you finished okay. Still down, though. Microsoft was down 7. That's not good. Was down 10. Salesforce.com was down almost 5. It was up 7 and change on earnings yesterday. That's not good. SAP was down 3. As I look to my left, a lot of red. CrowdStrike down 9. Zscaler, ZS, a software security company, down another $25 today. You want destruction? 337, all-time high in October. 142 today. I take it back. The high was 376 in 2021. Software, notwithstanding bounces, you can get them. But remember, down 10 and up 2 is not a recipe for good. So software. And I mean just about all. They just topped out the solars. Just letting you know. We have been avoiding the payroll companies. Brutal bear markets. Brutal. Surprising. ADP 330 to 214. Paychecks 161 to 93. You add it up. Payroll. China's in a void. Remains in a void. The weakest of all nations right now, believe it or not. At least the big ones. I don't know about any smaller. And as you know, there's some countries that are up strong this year. Avoid China. Airlines. I think they're topping. Pretty darn sure of it. Retail. Not all. There's some strong retail, but a lot of weakness. Let's call it some retail. Not in the camp yet of sell it all. Housing. How about I'm a tweener on that? More to the bearish side. Bad reaction recently, especially with something very bullish going on. The 10-year yield dropped today below 4%. That should be great news. Housing stocks didn't budge today. You catching a little drift of what we're doing? There's some other areas I can go through, but I'm not. My main point today was, holy crap on the financials. Do you know today American Express, Goldman, and JP Morgan today? 26, 95, we're about 650 Dow points to the negative, and the Dow was only down 521. Unfortunately, that's because Merck was up, Johnson & Johnson was up, Procter & Gamble was up. What do they all have in common? Very defensive. We do not like seeing the financials get slaughtered like they did today. We'll stay on top of them every day because they are muy importante, big time of importance. And man, when I look to see, well, Goldman Sachs today was down 69 big dollars. What's the news? And I have none. Except somebody saying, under pressure. Up next, the good side. It's the one and only Investor's Edge. We are being told that mortgage rates have dropped below 6% for the first time since 22, and that's true. I am still letting you know the housing market's in bad shape. Great shape for buyers. Sellers, it's the worst I've seen since 08 for the sellers. And it's a combination of not so bad and bad. The not so bad is the sellers are just putting up prices that they're not getting. Fantasyland, we've been calling it here. I've been telling you, I have seen people put up houses that went for $1 million in 22 for 3. Ain't happening. So all of a sudden it's 2.7, ain't moving. 2.4 ain't moving. That's how it goes. And the more inventory, the tougher. There is a beautiful country club here in Central Florida, not going to mention name, has 29 homes for sale now. That means they're all fighting each other to sell their homes in that area. And what typically that means is if they're going to be able to sell, ye who lowers prices first or best wins. In order to sell yours, you have to meet that seller's price lower. And that's how lower prices, supply and demand occurs. 29. And there's 6 pending that have been pending for like 5 months, which means they're not getting done. Not going to mention which place. And as I look across the country, boy, inventory is gargantuan in many a place. But on Goldman and Morgan and all them, under pressure today with private equity and alternative asset managers. The latest leg lower follows mounting worries about potential credit losses in rapidly grown private credit portfolios, exacerbated by recent headlines around a company called Owl that has come out and said we are no longer going to give you back your money. Owl stock, you ready for this? Has gone from $26.73 to $10.55. That be not good. So we big time reiterate the financials. Not muy bueno. No muy bueno. It's about all the Spanish. I took 6 years of Spanish and I don't remember anything. I really got to do something with that one day. I also want to bring up one more thing. And as you know, I always say we don't take on anybody in the industry except for that lady because she upsets us. When she is down 60% since 21 and she's treated like a guru and she's out predicting 1.5 million for Bitcoin by 2030. Last I looked, we're in 26. So 26, 27, 28, 29. So 4 years. Let's give her an extra half year into 30. She's saying in 4.5 years, Bitcoin's going to go from, 65,000 to 1.5 million. Last I looked, that's about 24 times in 4.5 years. They should put masking tape on her mouth. We move on. As we said, we don't take on anybody. We never name names. But every now and then we'll do a little general something about why it's so important to really pay attention to your stocks. Duolingo. Just so you know, their earnings for the December ending quarter up 262%. Sales year over year up 35%. The stock was still down today, another 14% to $101. But that's not the story. 9 months ago, the stock was $545. It's now $101. More than 80% down. And just so you know, the sell signal on that stock was at 490. And a bigger sell signal was at 450. It's 101. Why am I mentioning this? 5 analysts downgraded it today. 5. And I also noticed that one of them has had it since the high. Catching my drift? Just letting you know. And by the way, you ready? One of them downgrades from a neutral to a buy, from a buy to a neutral. What does neutral mean? The next one changes it from a buy to a hold. So let me get this straight. We're not going to buy it, but we're still going to hold it even though we're down 80%. The other one goes from an overweight to an equal weight. Help me, what does that mean? The other one goes from Oh, 6 of them. I missed one. Outperform to an inline. Another one, outperform to a neutral, and then outperform to a sector perform. Somebody explain to me what the hell any of that means. Isn't it just buy or sell? I guess buy, hold, or sell. But how does it help when you go buy to a hold, so you're still holding it, but you're down 80%? Well, let's say you're down 50. Anyway, just want to let you know. And of course, we're not mentioning anybody. Big change. Netflix. We've had a void on that for a very long time. And there was some cause and effect. By the way, we've had a void on that since June of last year. They were in the midst of trying to buy a big media company, and they backed away. It was starting to rifle up 3 days ago. Well, today it was up 13% on 197 million shares, almost more than 4 times average volume. The fact that they're not buying this company, the market likes. It will now go on our what we would call mega cap better screen. It's still in a major downtrend, but it broke back above the 50-day moving average today on that news, and we'll see what comes of it. Numbers look pretty good. Next, Dell. Up 26 today. Volume. Normal is 7. Came in at 33 million. Earnings 2 quarters ago. Up 17. Last quarter, 45. Sales 2 quarters ago, 11. Last quarter, 39. So major acceleration of Dell Computers numbers. Guess where that goes? That is correct. On our better screen, and that was in a void until today. Simple as that. Changes because of news or because of earnings. Just letting you know on those two. We didn't say we're buying them. They get noticed. Gold and silver. We have told you gold miners stronger than the metal, and usually that's good for the metal. Gold miners new all-time high today. GLD up 1.2% today. And silver, nicely strong. Looks like that's turning up. Remember, especially silver, kind of went vertical, dropped. You ready for this? 110 down to 70 in a day. Dropped down all the way to 65 over a couple more weeks. Starting to turn back up in earnest right now. So gold and silver in play. In play. Defensive stocks. As I mentioned, Merck, Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, some of the other food and beverage, better. Utilities as interest rates plummet. That's an area to take a look at. And as we said before, oils, but that could be very news-driven. Are we going into Iran? Are we doing something to them, or are we not? That's another one. The oils. And then the semis. Kids, NVIDIA was down another $7.77 today. But a bunch of the semi stocks that were down a lot. KLAC was down 34, finished flat. We think the equipment makers are still to be looked at, and others. Up next, the others. This is the one only Investor's Edge. So, on top of the equipment makers, and let me just tell you what it seems to be happening. The spenders of this AI are getting crushed. The receivers of the supposed spending are the strength. Semiconductor equipment, Micron, SanDisk, Light, Corning, Coherent, Ciena. They didn't budge today. Western Digital, Seagate. I'm thinking they got more legs to go to the upside while NVIDIA gets blasted again. And I did a whole dissertation for you on NVIDIA yesterday. Worse than today. There are questions. Remember what we've said to you here. When you are the head honcho, top dog, big cheese, and you are really doing so darn good, what happens? Well, everybody looks at you and they want to come after you. And there's been all this talk about this company and that company and this company, that company with their own AI chips. I'm wondering whether that's part of the discount. But there's also a lot of talk now about obligations and self-dealing and double dealing. And we'll give you this, but you buy our that. This is not us talking. This is some pretty smart people talking. We think NVIDIA is in a void. It couldn't break above 195. If it breaks 170, look out. It's range bound. When we say avoid, new commitments. We're not telling you to sell, especially if you had it for a while. You're up big. And it has not violated the big stuff yet. It is down, 212 to 177. 23.35, 16%. That's a correction. Not the biggest of deals. But also of note, it is down $7 from August 7th, 25. And is trading exactly where it traded. Right about out there. There's your NVIDIA. And one other thing, and we told you this. Today closed at a $4.3 trillion market cap. Begging the question, how far can something go? That's not a bad question to ask. I remember when I kept thinking Walmart's going to slow down because it got to $1 trillion. This is 4.3 at the close today. It was just near 5. But I repeat, the semiconductor equipment stocks, Micron, few others. But remember, with those few others, pricing is important. Pricing has gone vertical. There will always be an end to that because it is of cyclical nature. The AI thing has made it much bigger and much more to the upside. Which means if things go awry, it could be that much more to the downside. You know what will tell us? The stocks. Another day today where the NASDAQ got hit for 210. NASDAQ 100 was only down 74. And with the NASDAQ down 210, Sienna up 7, Coherent up 8, LIT up 24. KLAC was green. Few other semis were green. The Seagate Western Digital, down 2. So we're going to be watching those bad boys going into next week. Because if they can't send them down when the market's getting hit, they're probably going to have another leg up. That's how we look at it. Relative strength. Short, intermediate, long-term time frames. So, very good news. Interest rates plunge below 4%. Very good news. Very bad news that oil prices are up another $2. And of course, that'll be dependent on what happens with Iran. And it was a wild, we started off 800 points down on Monday. You know what we finished for the week on the Dow? Down 650. We were down 521 today. We were down 800 on Monday. And we only finished down 650. Tells you about the intervening days. We expect more wackiness, but the big theme, kids, them financials. Hope it's not telegraphing something troublesome. Lastly, because I get asked about it 1,000 times, you're welcome. CoreWeave down $18 today, 18% on a monstrous loss. And I got to tell you, and a lot of debt, and I got to tell you, I think they're going to have to raise a lot more debt. That's my guess. And I think the market knows it. And they are part of the circle of, yeah, we'll give you this and you buy that. And that is a question the market will figure out over time. There are people out there saying this reminds you of 1999. I'm not there yet, but the market will tell us. In some cases it has. I mean, Oracle. Holy crap-o-matic. 345 to 145. Microsoft. Wow. 555 to 392. Wow. Stay tuned. It's going to be a bumpy ride. You'll have a great evening. Drive carefully. And when you get home, do like we do. Quite simple. Make sure you hug your family. Hug your children. They will feel better. You'll feel better. I promise. Stay well. Be well. And I hear it's going to snow in the Northeast again. Be careful. Until Monday, have a good one, everybody. Good night.